Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, last week we learned Vipula and Chapala. So today I think we can only do the class for 1 hour because I have a meeting at 7:30. So I will try to finish Giti Jati, the type called as Giti, within today's discussion. So do you have any questions regarding the previous discussion about Vipula and Chapala?
Yeah, hi Bante.
Yes, Dr. Ran.
Yeah, I have a question. So in fact, it's from the verse 19. So in the verse 19, in the second half, we have adimamata Bādayugang. So
Yes.
here, see the Bādayuga. Bādayuga refers to the two halves, right, Bante? Bādayuga is a pair of lines, so it refers to a half, right, Bante?
The yuga refers to a half.
Right. So
okay.
and then we have Adimang. It's from the Adimantu. So here it is the it modifies by the Yugam. So Adiman, it also refers to the the half. So it refers so what it means is that a half that has the beginning, right, Bante?
No, because the Pada Yugang doesn't mean a half, because yuga is pair.
Yes.
So Pada Yuga means pair of lines. That means two lines. Two lines.
So 2 lines means a half, right? Bante? So a verse has 2 halves.
Yeah. But no. We can take by the term 2 lines, we can take first and second line, and also we can take first and third line also, isn't it? It just mentions 2 lines. It does not mention first half. So we can take the first half as 2 lines, and also we can take something else as 2 lines.
So then how should we understand the word adimang, Bante?
Yeah,
Adimang.
because adimang means something which has the beginning, isn't it? Adimantu, yes, as you mentioned, something which has the beginning. So the two lines or pair of lines which has the beginning. So we have to take the meaning as in the first half there is a line which has the beginning, and in the second half also there is a line which has the beginning. So those 2 lines are first line and third line. First line is the beginning of the first half, and the third line is the beginning of the second half. So
right. But
that's like that.
Yeah. So but
Yes.
then that means in this case, Badaguya refers to the halves.
The yoga refers to half.
No, I mean the Bada Yuga has to refers to a half. So that half, the first half has the first line as the beginning. So the second half has the third line as the beginning.
Okay.
Right, Bante? Because if we take this pair of line as the first line and the third line, then both of the first and the third lines are at the beginning. So that means in this case we have to take the word Bada Yuga means the first half, or the half.
Actually, Pada Yoga doesn't directly mention about a half, isn't it? We can take the meaning as half.
Yes, of course. But I mean, in this
because
context,
2 lines equals to 1/2.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but my question is because it's also related to the verse 20. Because in the verse 20, we have the word adimo. But the word adimo, this word, I don't think it is derived from the word adimantu. This adimo, it means the beginning, the foremost. It's not from the word adimantu. So in this case, adimo, it refers to the beginning. So it refers to the first line or the third line.
Yes, yes.
Right, Bante? Because so in the translation of the Venerable Ananda Jyoti, he says that adimo, it means has the beginning. I don't think that is correct. Right, because so in the verse 19, it's adimang, it's from adimantu. So here is it is declined as the adimang because it modifies adiyugang, which it has a
Yes.
neuter gender. So we have adimang. But adimantu, we don't have the declension as adimo. This is adimo, it's from the word adima.
Yes, Adimo is from Adima, not Adimantu.
Yeah, so it means the beginning, the foremost.
Yes, yes, yes. Beginning foremost. So here in the 20th verse, it's clear, isn't it? Ubayatta Adimo.
Yes.
It's like Ubayatta in both halves, Adimo, foremost line.
Yes.
First line.
Yes, so the adimo means the first line or the third line.
Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah, but in the 19, the adimang, it refers to the body yugang. So here body yugang, we have to take it to means the half, the first half or the second half.
If we take it as half, then how could Adimang modify it?
Yeah, so it means that half. So like the first half, we have the first line and the second line. So it means that half has the beginning, and that beginning is the first line. And the second half has the beginning, and that beginning is the third line.
Okay.
So, right, Bante?
Then this should be like Adimang Pada Yuge, isn't it? In halves, in both halves, the first line.
No, but then here it's the nominative case, right? So
yes, yes, this is nominative case.
So it should be badi yugang.
Okay, then how can we translate the two words Adimang and Pada Yugang?
So this is how I translate it. So in that verse, the second half, so I translate that. Then if whatever Ariya verse, the pair of lines, which means each half, is the one that has the beginning with the three parts, then that Ariya verse is called Patya. So it looks to me that the yam sehi, it has to refers to the it has to modify the adimantu. So it has to refers to the first or the third lines. It should not be connected with to the word bada yugang. So the three parts should refer to the first or the third line.
So the meaning should be taken as you mean Pada Yugang should be translated as half, right?
Yes, Bante.
Okay, then first half or second half?
Yes, Bante.
Okay, then Adimang is not an adjective for Pada Yugang, right?
It should be, right, Bante? So
okay.
it means the half that has the beginning. So my understanding is that we have to connect the yam sehi to the word adi. So what it means is that if the half that has the beginning with three groups.
Yeah. That's also correct. Then it's like Yassa Pada Yugang Tyansehi Adimang, in which verse two lines, so pair of lines is having the beginning with three groups. Can say three parts or three groups. Yeah, that meaning is also correct. That meaning can also be taken, right?
Yes, Bhante.
Okay, okay, but the traditionally given meaning is that Pāḍa how to tell, Ādimang is the adjective for Pāḍa, then Ādimang Pāḍa, the pair of lines which has the beginning, then by those two terms, the first line and the third line are directly taken. The second line and fourth line are not taken, and they are not concerned with these terms. So that is how it is traditionally explained, and the meaning is given. So this meaning is also correct, actually, can be taken, as you mentioned.
So Bhante, so traditionally, then the Bādi Yugang refers to the couple of the pair of pair of lines. So we should take those lines as the first and the third lines, Bhante?
Yes, yes, of course. Pair of line, by the word pair of lines, we should take first and the third lines. That is the pair.
So the
Not,
Adi, so Adi in this case, it refers to just like a group then.
yes, yes, maybe group and maybe the first few letters, something like that. Because what is the beginning? That itself is the beginning, right?
Right.
So someone can ask the question, if the first line itself is the beginning, then how can it has the beginning? So that is the question.
Right, but then it's not very clear. So what if we take the Bādi Yugang as just a pair of line, and if we take it's the fourth, the second and the fourth lines, then those lines are also have the beginning. Each
Yes,
line has the
yes.
beginning.
Yes, that is a good question.
Yeah, and then also because in the second, I mean the verse 20, we have adimo, and adimo. That word refers to the whole first or the third line. So so I don't know. I mean,
Yes.
so according to my opinion, then we should take the word Bādi Yugang in this case as the whole half. So the first half or the second half. And the Adi should refers to the first line or and the third line.
Okay, then Adim. What is Adim? Adi is the first line and the third line.
Yeah.
And Adim is the first half and the second half.
So you mean in the verse 20, Bhante?
Yeah, no, 19.
19, that is Adi Mantu. Bhante. So Adi Mantu, it means it refers to the Bādi Yugang, and the Bādi Yugang that has the beginning. So that beginning is the first half, the first line. So the first half has the beginning, which is the first line. And the second half has the beginning, which is the third line. And that first and the third line have to have three groups.
Yes, that is correct. Let me please check the Burmese Nisse. Adimhang, which has the beginning, Pāḍa Yugang, pair of lines. By the word Pāḍa Yuga, in the Burmese Nisaya, it's mentioned that by the word Pāḍa Yuga, you should take the first line of the first half and the first line of the second half. Yeah, that problem is there.
Okay, Bhante.
Yeah, we can think about it more.
Okay, thank you, Bhante. And then the second question is a short question, Bante. So it's a short grammar question. So in the verse 20, yes. So here we have a Chatuttako and Dutiyako. So we know the Chatutta and Dutiya, it means the fourth and the second. So here, what is the suffix ka, or what does it mean, Bante?
Ka, suffix ka has several meanings. Like in the Bahubbihi Samasa also we see this ka at the end, like Bahu Nadiko and so on in grammar. So in Bahubbihi Samasa, at the end of Bahubbihi Samasa, we can see this ka, and by that ka, we can, that is a, how to say, that shows that it is a Bahubbihi Samasa in such places. But in other places like Putto Yeva Puttako, such places, there are many other examples also, I cannot remember now. So here also like that, it is called as Swattha Taddhita. This is a Taddhita Pachaya, Taddhita suffix in the same meaning. Dutiyo Yeva Dutiyako, Chatutto Yeva Chatuttako. So there is not a special meaning, just in the same meaning the suffix ka is joined.
I see. Thank you, Bante.
Okay, actually it is not a pachaya according to Kachayana. It is a agama, something which is inserted at the end. Kakaragamo hoti. Sabbato ko, that is the sutra, you can check it, Sabbato ko. So after any noun, you can put this ka in the same meaning.
I see. Thank you, Bante.
Okay, any other questions? No questions. Then let's go to today's lesson. Mukha Chapala and Jagana Chapala. Only two verses are remaining in the Arya kind. Mukha Chapala and Jagana Chapala. We already learned about Chapala, Vipula and Chapala. So in the verse we already learned in the both lines, the Chapala characteristics should be there. What are the Chapala characteristics? Garu Majjago Jakaro Chatuttako Dutiyako Chapala. Second group and the fourth group should be Jaganas, Ja groups, and those Ja groups should be in the middle of heavy syllables. So we concluded that because of this rule, the third group should always be a Magana, and the first group can be Sagana or Magana, and the fifth group can be Bhagana or Magana. So we made a conclusion like that. So that is Chapala verse. So what is this Mukha Chapala verse? Mukha Chapala is simply, if you see the Chapala characteristics in at the end, at the beginning of the verse, in the first half of the verse, but not in the second half, then you call it Mukha Chapala. So let's read the verse. Chapala gata kilang che daladimang lakkanang bhajati yassa pathya lakkana manyang mukha chapala nama sa bhavati. So the meaning is, let's first read the rough meaning here. For the Arya, if the beginning portion, that means if the beginning half of the verse partakes of all the characteristics that come in the Chapala, that means in the first half, there are all the characteristics of Chapala. And the other half, the second half or the ending half, has the characteristics of Pathya. That is named as Mukha Chapala, modulation in the prior line. Because Mukha, we learned that word Mukha has several meanings, but here that that means the beginning or the prior or prior. So here Mukha Chapala means the verse which has Chapala characteristics in the prior line, not prior line, prior half. Yeah, prior half. So let's check the words in this verse. Chapala gata kilang che. This should be dejoined as chapala agata akilang che. Chapala gata kilang che. Chapala agata akilang che. Che is same as sache. So chapala gata. That agata means something which come. So something which come in chapala verse. What is that? Lakhanang. Here you can see lakhanang. The agatang is the adjective for lakhanang. So the characteristic which is there in the chapala verse, daladimang bhajati yassa. In which verse Bhante Anand Jyoti gives another meaning for yassa, but in the Nisayas it is translated as in which verse. Daladimang adimang dalang, the beginning portion. Dala means portion, but here we can take it as half. Portion refers to half here. So daladimang means the beginning half. Adimang dalang, beginning half, beginning portion, beginning half. Daladimang bhajati means something which bhajati means associate. Here Bhante has translated it as partakes, but we know bhajati means associates also. So daladimam bhajati associates the first half. So chapalagatang akilang, akilang means all. We have learned this before also. Akilang means all. So all the characteristic which we see in the chapala verse is there in the first half of a verse. Okay, in the first half of a verse, all the chapala characteristics are seen. But then patya lakkana manyang, patya lakkanang anyang dalang. This word dalang should be taken to here also. So anyang dalang, the other portion or the other half, patya lakkanang, the characteristic of patya verse is there. This verb bhajati also we can take to here. So in the other half associates the characteristic of patya verse. Then mukha chapala nama sa bhavati. Sa, that verse, mukha chapala nama bhavati, that verse is named as mukha chapala because the chapala characteristics is only there in the first half but not in the second half. Second half is same as patya verse. So that is mukha chapala. Not something special. We have already learned chapala. So if the chapala characteristics is there only in the first half but not in the second half, that is called as mukha chapala. So let's check this verse for the characteristics. Here chapala is a sa group, sagana. So here you see at the end of this group there is a heavy syllable, and then second half should be a jagana according to the chapala rules. So you see here gata ki, lahu garu lahu. It is a jagana. And then the third group should be a magana. Let's see, lang che. You see lang che, two heavy syllables, two heavy measures. So it's a magana. And then fourth group also should be a jagana according to chapala. Then here daladi, it is a jagana. And then in the fifth group, first measure should be a heavy one. You see mang lak, it is a magana. So here it is there is a heavy measure. So you can observe the Chapala characteristics in the first half. Let's go to the second half. Pathya, it's a Magana, and then Lakhana. Lakhana, you see, second group is not a Ja group, it's a Bha group. So this is not a Chapala verse. We can conclude by just looking at the second group. This is not a Chapala verse because second group should be a Jagana in a Chapala verse. And then Manyang, it's a Magana. And there are 3 groups here. 12 measures, 3 groups. So this is just the characteristic of Pathya verses. And then Mukha Chappa is a Nagana. You see, 4th group is a Nagana. It's also not a Jagana, it's a Nagana. Mukha Chappa, La, Na, again a Magana. Ma is the 6th place, a Lahu, light syllable. Sa, Bhava is the 7th group. Ti is the Antagaru. So this half you can observe all the Pathya characteristics, but no Chapala characteristics at all. So because of that, we name this verse Mukha Chapala. Okay, are there any questions?
Yes, Bante.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question about the first half. So in the first half, which one is the subject, Bante? The subject, is it the Dala, Dimang, or Lakhanang, Bante?
Lakhanang.
Lakhanang is the subject, Bante?
Yes. Dala, Dimang. Yes, Lakhanang is the subject because Adimang is in the.
Then if Dala, Dimang is the subject, then Dala, Dima is the neutral gender, Bante?
If Daladima is the subject, it's in the neutral gender because Adimang is modifying Dala. Dalang Adimang. Adiman Dalang. So the word Dala, as I remember, is also in neutral gender. So we can take that also as the subject, of course. Like this Chapala Yassa, in which verse Adimang Dalang, first portion, no, first half, Chapalagata Khilang Lakhanang, all the characteristics, all the characteristic of Chapala verse. Bhajati associates, that means the first half associates the characteristic of Chapala. Then first half is the subject. Adiman Dalang is the subject. I'm not sure word Dala is in neutral gender or masculine gender. If that is in neutral gender, we can take that as the subject also. But
Right.
traditionally we take Lakhanang as the subject.
Okay.
Chapalagata Khilang Lakhanang, all the characteristic of a Chapala verse associates the first half of a verse. So Dala Dimang is the object, according traditionally.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay. Okay, then next Chapala, last verse of Variya group, Jagana Chapala. This is also not something special. Jagana means ending, ending portion. So the Chapala characteristic is only seen in the.
Bante.
Yes.
The Dana is a neutral gender.
Dala is neutral gender.
Yeah, in Sanskrit it's neutral gender.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Then yes, we can take both as subject. We can take Daladibang as subject and Nakkanang as subject also. We can then give 2 meanings for this verse. Yes. Okay, Jagana Chapala. So here only thing special is that Pathya characteristic is seen in the first half and the Chapala characteristic is seen in the second half. So let's recite the verse. Pathyaya lakhanang te patamadhe lakhanang tu chapalaya dutiye dale yassa pakittita sa jagana chapala. If in the first half there are the characteristics of Pathya, but then in the second portion the characteristics of Chapala, that is proclaimed to be the Jagana Chapala verse. So Pathya Lakhanang, the characteristic of Pathya verse, Patamadhe, Patamadhe in the first half. In the first half, you can observe the characteristic of Pathya verse. Lakhanantu Chapala, to it's translated here as but Lakhanang Chapalaya, Chapalaya Lakhanang, the characteristic of Chapala verse, Dutiye Dale, you can observe in the second portion or second half, yassa, in which verse? Pakittita sa Jagana Chapala sa, that verse is Pakittita, proclaimed or named or told as Jagana Chapala by the name Jagana Chapala. So let's check it. Pathya, first group, ya, lak, k, second group, nang, che, third group. So here you see second what you call group is a Jagana, right? Pathya, ya, lak, k. Second group is a Jagana. Okay, so still there is Pathya characteristic, because here also you see there is a Sagana, Magana. Pathya is a Magana. So before the Jagana there is a heavy syllable or heavy measure, and after the Jagana also there is a heavy measure. Ya, lak, nang, che. You see here also there is Magana. So still all the line consists with Chapala characteristics. So let's go to the fourth group, Patamad. You see, fourth group is not a Jagana, Patamad, it is a Sagana. So according to Chapala rules, fourth group should also be a Jagana. So if both second group and fourth group should be Jagana, one group being Jagana is not enough. You see, one group being Jagana is not enough. Both second group and fourth group should be Jagana. So here second group is Jagana in the middle of heavy measures, but the fourth group is not a Jagana. But mud, de, lak. This here also there is a Magana. Only problem is that the fourth group is not a Jagana. So this is not a Chapala verse. This is just a Pathya verse. This is just a Pathya verse. So in the second half, let's go and check. Dutiye, it's a Sa group. There is a heavy measure at the end. Dalet, second group is a Jagana. Yassa, it's a Magana. Pakitti, it's also a Jagana, you see. Tasa, Magana. Jagana. Tasa. Ja is the sixth lahu. Ghana, chapa is the seventh group. La is the ending measure. So in this half, you can observe the what you call Chapala characteristics only at the second half, not in the first half. So we call this verse Jagana Chapala. Okay, is that clear for you? Are there any questions?
Fande, I just would like to confirm my understanding.
Yes, of course.
About the second line of the sixth group where the lahu occur. It doesn't matter is Bhatia or Chapala or Vipula. Yes, it doesn't matter what kind of area they are, but there's always the second half on the sixth group. It has to be lahu, right?
Yes, of course, you are correct, because we are in the Arya group, right? they are in Arya Jati. So basic structure should be there in every verse. No matter it's Chapala or Vipula or Patya, basic structure of Gana Niyama and Yati Niyam. Yati Niyam also should be there, okay? Yati Niyam, the rules regarding the word break and the rules regarding groups. So Gana Niyama and Yati Niyama should always be there, no matter Patya, Vipula or Chapala. In all the Arya verses, in Arya group, the basic structure should be there. Okay, right. So that there we finished the old Arya verses, and here you can read this later. There are all 16 Arya verses, 16, because there can be normal Arya Patya verse, and there can be Arya Adi Vipula verse, because we know in Vipula there are three verses: Adi Vipula, Anta Vipula, and normal Vipula. We can call the fourth one Ubhaya Vipula also, because in both lines Vipula characteristic is there. So we can call it Ubhaya Vipula or just Vipula, as mentioned here. So Adi Vipula and Anta Vipula, as we discussed in the previous discussion, you can call Mukha Vipula and Jagana Vipula also. Mukha Vipula and Jagana Vipula also you can use. And this is also correct, Adi Vipula and Anta Vipula, because Adi is a synonym for Mukha and Anta is a synonym for Jagana. So you can use Adi Vipula or Mukha Vipula, Anta Vipula or Jagana Vipula. So there are 4 verses like that. And then we are going to Chapala. So Chapala also, there can be a Mukha Chapala verse, which has in Chapala also there are 3 types of Chapala: Mukha Chapala and Jagana Chapala and Ubhaya Chapala. There are 3 Chapala verses. So in Mukha Chapala verse also, there can be a normal Patya verse which has Mukha Chapala characteristics. In a Patya verse, the first half has Mukha Chapala characteristics. So then we call it Patya Mukha Chapala. Then there can be a verse in which Vipula characteristics and Chapala characteristics are mixed. Okay, so in the first half, there are Chapala characteristics also, and Vipula characteristics also are there in the first half. Then we call it Adi Vipula Mukha Chapala. And another verse, the third one, in a verse, in a Mukha Chapala verse, that means in the first half there are Chapala characteristics, but in the second half there are Vipula characteristics. So then we can call it Anta Vipula Mukha Chapala, because the ending half has the Vipula characteristics and the beginning half has the Chapala characteristics. And another Mukha Chapala verse is there. Mukha Chapala, the first half has the Chapala characteristics, and both halves have Vipula characteristics also at the same time. So then we can call Vipula Mukha Chapala. You can use this word Arya also. Not using is also okay, because we know all these Arya verses. So in Jagana Chapala also, there are 4 subtypes like that. You can read it later. And here Maha Chapala, this word Maha Chapala is not used in Pāļi Vuttodaya book. In our tradition, word Maha Chapala is not used. I think Bhante has taken this word from Sanskrit, Ruttaratnakara or somewhere like that. So Maha Chapala is another word for Ubhaya Chapala. Ubhaya Chapala. Ubhaya Chapala, that means in the both halves Chapala characteristics are there. So we call it Ubhaya Chapala. Ubhaya Chapala, both halves have Chapala characteristics, and we can call it Maha Chapala also. Maha Chapala is a synonym for Ubhaya Chapala. Okay, please remember that this word is not used in our tradition, probably taken from Sanskrit. So Maha Chapala also has 4 subtypes like the previous ones. So thus there are 16 types of Arya verses. Actually, remembering or memorizing these things is not required at all. You should just understand that many many types of Arya verses are there, many possibilities are there. So that's all about that. And we are going to check some examples here. So Gantharamba Katha of Diga Nikaya, that means the Silakhanda commentary, we have already examined some verses of that. So we are just going to Vipula and going to examine some Vipula and Chapala examples, not and we will ignore Patha examples. So first one is Vipula Jagana Chapala verse is there. Vipula Jagana Chapala. That means Vipula, you see, here there is not a modification, there is not an adjective, Adi Vipula or Jagana Vipula. That means Vipula characteristic is in both halves. This is a full Vipula verse, or this is another, in another words, this is a Ubhaya Vipula verse. In both halves, there should be Vipula characteristics, because the word Vipula is not modified by a word like Adi or Jagana, Vanta or something like that. So both halves, there should be Vipula characteristics, and Jagana Chapala characteristics should be in the only in the second half. So let's check it. So the two measures, ghas also two measures, so that is a one group. The ghas sa, the gh sa, the gh, one group. The ghas sa, the gh, sut tang, another group. So you see here three groups are completed, finished. So according to the Pathya rules, here the line break should be there. But what has happened is Suttang, the ghas sa, the suttang. The word is not still finished. You have some more syllables in the word, so you cannot break the line here. Okay, so because of that, the next group is also joined to the first line, like kitas. So here some confusions will be there for some of you. I will explain it later. So in the second line, yes, ni pu nas sa aga ma wa ras, and then the antagaruts. So here what has happened is that in Digha Suttang, in the word Digha Suttang Kitas, what has done is that you should break the line at Suttang. You should break the line at Suttang. But that is a combination, that is a Sandhi, and it's not good to break the line there. And because of that, another letter, the next letter should be taken to the previous line according to the Vipula characteristic. So you can take ki. You can take ki. So then what happens is Dighasa Digha Suttang ki tas. So that is also not a good place to break the line, break the word. Dighasa Digha Suttang ki tas. That's also not good. So because of that, you take another syllable, another syllable. Then what happens is Dighasa Digha Suttang ki tas. So then what happens is only one syllable is at the second line. So that is also not good. We learned about this. When you break the line, there should be at least two syllables in one side. So because of that, sa also has been taken to the first line. So then one complete group has been taken to the first line from the second line. So because of that, the normal limitation of the Arya verse is exceeded here. So there are more than 3 groups, there are more than 12 measures. So we call this a Vipula verse. So by observing this verse, we can actually I mentioned in the last discussion that usually we can take one measures or two measures, but not a complete group to the first line from the second line. But that I mentioned that referring to our Nisse books and all, but actually by observing this verse, we can conclude that taking one complete group is also can be done. Taking one complete group from the second line to the first line also can be done. So that is how this verse should be checked. But I think breaking the line in a place like this also can be done, because you see, if you break the line here, then pathya characteristic is there, because you see dighassa is one group, dighassa digha second group, suttang third group. So here third group finishes, so pathya characteristic is there, and the second line we don't actually want to check. Only problem is that can we break the line in a place like this? What is your idea about that?
In fact, it is very confusing for me, Bante, because so here you said that it's because of the sandhi, so that's why I mean the author or the one who wrote, I mean, so they're not going to break it after the word tang. But and then I mean,
Yes.
I don't know an example, but I mean, if for example, if we have something like, you know, if the word keep going and going, then how do we know where to break? So for example, if we have an example where, you know, it's not stopped after the fourth group, but it keeps going. So how do we know?
In a long samasa, right?
Yes, Bante. So
Yes,
it's
of
like there
course,
is
in
no
long
rule for-
samasa we can separate, we can keep the line break at the middle only in the middle of some combinations, as I have understood it. When it is confusing, when you disjoin the word, when it is confusing, when you separate the word at the middle, then you should not do that. So in such places, I think separation is okay. Dighassa dighasuttang, that is the first line, and kitassa you can take the, because ankita is the actual real word, sutta ankita. So ang and kita has been separated two lines.
Yes, and then also it's very similar to, I think, the verse 20, I think we did last week. So here, why can't we break it after the syllable ki?
Dighassa dighasuttang ki. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, of course we can do that. Then also the same thing happens. That is in the middle of a small word, that is not in the middle of a samasa. That's in the middle of the dhatu and the vaccha, right? But as you mentioned, it's same like ullang here, right?
Yes, Bante.
Yes, we can do that also.
Yes, Bante.
Yes.
If we depend into the Arya verse, we only have the 4 syllable in the Arya verse. That's why we can work breaks in the key. Understand that? It's okay?
4 syllables in the Arya verse. Because of that?
Yes, because of that, we can work breaks in the key. Because we have the suttang of all the 4 syllables. After that, we can make the work breaks in the key, right?
We can make the word break at key.
Yes, because
according to
we have the only 4 syllable in the Arya verse.
Yeah. Are you talking about 4 measures? 4 measures?
Yes, That's why
Yes.
here we make the work breaks in the key, right?
Yeah,
Bante?
actually 4 measures are completed here in Suttang. You see Sut 2 measures, Tang 2 measures.
Yes.
So already 4 measures are there.
Yes. That's why we can make the work break here, right? Bante?
Yeah, we can make the word break here. That's what I am also thinking. We can make the word break here, and we can consider this as a normal Pathya verse. But Bante Arejoti has taken this example as a Vipula verse. Right? So
Yes. Yes.
okay, then let's go to the second. That there is a question still to think about. Why can't we? Actually, before I saw Bhante Anandjyoti's explanation, I considered this as a normal Pathya verse. I was used to separate in such places to form a normal Pathya verse. But after seeing his example, I was also confused whether this is a Pathya verse or a Vipula verse. So here, Buddha, Nu Buddha, second group, Sangwan. Here also you see, Sangwan, we can keep the line break here, Sangwan Nita. If we keep the line break here, Sangwan, then Nitassa. Nitassa is the 4th group, Saddha is the 5th group, Va is the 6th Lahu, Hagunas is the 7th group, and Sa is the Antagaru. Okay, so here also we can consider this as a normal Pathya verse, and then in that Pathya verse you can also observe the Chapala characteristics here. Okay, Buddha, this you see ending one is heavy, and Nu Buddha second group is Jagana, Sangwan Ma group, yeah, third group is Ma group, Nitasa, fourth group is Jagana, Saddha, fifth group is Magana, so there is a heavy measure. So there is Chapala characteristics, so there are Chapala characteristics also in this half, so we can call this, if we consider that we can separate in the middle of such places, this is a normal Jagana Chapala verse. Jagana Chapala verse, Arya Jagana Chapala verse. This has the first half has Pathya characteristics and the second half has Chapala characteristics. So this is a Jagana Chapala verse. But as Bhante Anandjyoti has shown, if we consider that in these places we cannot separate, if we consider like that, then these both halves don't have Pathya characteristics, because you see there are more than 3 groups in the first and third lines. So because of that, the first line also has Vipula characteristics, second line has Vipula and Chapala characteristics. Okay, so we call this Vipula Jagana Chapala verse, as Bhante Anandjyoti has mentioned there. So there are some other examples also. We can observe them later. Can you see the screen? I think you can't.
No, Bhante.
Yeah, now you can see.
Yeah.
So I will take some time to examine these examples also with you. There are some, you see, Adi Vipula and so on, some more examples. So we are going to Giti Jati, just one verse we will finish today. So in Giti Jati, what is Giti? Giti is another group of verses in the Mattavutti. We are still in Mattavutti. I will show you the, again this will be disappeared. Yes, the screen disappeared, right?
Right.
Here. Okay. We are still in Mattavutti Niddesa, right? Mattavutti Niddesa, Dutiya Pariccheda, second chapter, Mattavutti. So in Mattavutti, we today finished Arya Jati, whole Arya group we finished today. I am very happy most of you very nicely composed verses by your own. So now we are going to the Giti group. Giti group is also included in Mattavutti, but another group like Arya. Okay, Giti. So there are only 4 verses in Giti groups. They are namely Giti, Upagiti, Uggiti, and Arya Giti. Giti, Upagiti, Uggiti, and Arya Giti. I will give you short explanation for them. Very easy. Giti are very easy than than to learn Arya, because we call a verse Giti if in a verse both halves have the characteristics of the first half of Arya verse. Like, you know, in the first half of Arya verse, we learned some characteristics. In a normal Pathya Arya verse, we learned some characteristics. So those not actually Pathya Arya, just Arya. We learned some characteristics about Arya verses at the beginning of Arya Jati, like you know, Gananiyama and Yatiniyama, Chatto Kiralahu Jova and Patamadde Chattoje. So these characteristics of the first line are seen in both lines. We call it Giti. And if in a verse, if in both lines of a verse, the characteristics of the second line of Arya verse are seen, the characteristics of second line of Arya verse are seen in both lines, then we call it Upagiti. If the halves of normal Arya verse are reversed, like first line goes to second line and second line comes to first line, lines are reversed, then we call it Uggiti. And what is Arya Giti? Arya Giti is normal Arya first line is there. At the end of the first line, one more extra garu is added at the end. One more heavy syllable is added at the end, and the same line is there as the second. Same half is there as the second half. That means Arya first half is there, and at the end of that Arya first half, one heavy syllable is added. So we call it Arya Giti. You see, very easy. Giti group is very easy. Just Arya rules. Arya rules are mixed and deal with Arya rules. So that is Giti Jati. That is Giti Jati. Okay, maybe we have to wind up the session for today, because there is a discussion for us today. Whenever Atulunyan also has to participate in the discussion. So shall we wind up for today?
Okay, thank you, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu,
Okay,
sadhu.
okay. Then let's recite Buddha Sasanam Chirang Tittatu and wind up the session. Buddha Sasanam Chirang Tittatu. Buddha Sasanam Chirang Tittatu. Buddha Sasanam Chirang Tittatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you all for participating.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you so much.